Hey everybody, Carm Capriato. It's the Coalition of Automotive Management Professionals presents. It's another monthly, if you will, trending topics webinar, or we internally with the camp group call it a fireside chat around the campfire. Good to have you all here with me today to just talk about great stuff. And if you've ever followed this series, these coaches are always on fire and talk about a lot of great stuff. Bill Haas is with me from Haas Performance Consulting. HaasPerformanceConsulting.com. Hello, Bill.
Good afternoon.
And Cecil Bullitt is here from the Institute for Automotive Business Excellence. We are theinstitute.com. Hello, Cecil.
Yeehaw. Great to be here.
And soon to have with us, we hope, as we're working out some technical difficulties behind the scenes, will be Vin Waterhouse. Now, I'll introduce Vin when I see him. Hey, guys, a lot of things going on, and there's one thing I would love to ask you when you're with your clients and we continue to see Meta's 10,000 people and Amazon's laying people off and Ford's doing this. Is there any concern from your clients like, ooh, what's going on? Recession, unemployment? Who's paying attention to that?
I think we're trying to look on the bright side. So far, in every recession, the automotive industry has done better. Even if you look back at COVID, excuse me, if you look back at COVID, price of used cars went through the roof. There's a chip shortage that still exists. The manufacturers don't have cars to sell. Now you have interest rates going up, so buying a car is more difficult. So more people now are fixing the cars they have. And so most of my clients are going, oh my gosh, our average repair orders have gone through the roof in the last 5-6 months. And we believe that to be due to the current economic conditions.
Yeah, I would say, Carm, everybody's paying attention, but I don't think we're that impacted by it. You know, it's the same kind of thing that you see anytime this happens in the economy. People might be losing jobs. People might getting their hours cut back. A lot of those kinds of things are happening. That's just reality. But the other reality is somebody can afford $500 or $600 to fix their car more than they can afford $500 or $600 a month for the next 72 months. So people are being smart with their money. So I think you're just like Cecil said, we're going to continue to see that service businesses will continue to do well and will we be affected? Yeah, we're going to be affected, but I think we're less affected.
There's probably a residual, eventual pay that eventually the people that can fix their cars will fix their cars. Eventually, maybe it'll catch up. But right now, I don't see it, not in the shops. I think my shops in California are struggling a little bit more than they probably should be. There's a few places where we might see it a little bit, but I don't think that it's really like Bill said, we're watching and we're seeing some effect, but it's really not affecting the automotive business service and repair right now.
Okay, so the bottom line is pay attention to your business, run a great business, embrace culture, love your people, and damn it, get a business coach.
Yeah, well,
yeah, move that to the top of the list. I don't know why you made that last, but it should be first.
Well, because I said, damn it. That's why. It was a great ending.
Oh, did you say get a damn coach?
Very good.
Now's even more important that you understand your business and you know how to make your business profitable and you know how to make your people productive. And also, I was at a thing last night, a group I belong to. We were talking about employee satisfaction and how important that is right now. And that is tied into, the financial success and failure of your business. So if you can provide things for your employees, like air conditioning in a hot place or heat in the wintertime, you're going to do better. And if you can pay them more, you're going to do better, et cetera, et cetera.
Got it. Hey, well, let's introduce Vin Waterhouse from the Waterhouse Group. Hello, Vin.
Hello, gentlemen.
So good to see you, VinWaterhouse.com. Glad to have you here. Vin, there is some noise in the background there, so when you're not on mic, try to be on mute for us because we're here. I think Dialing for Dollars is on TV or something.
Well, let me double check on that.
Well, just double check. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna find a topic. Cecil, you brought me a great topic about USP. What really makes you successful. Let's just speak to that for about the next 10 minutes.
I think when you talk to shop owners, they think that saying something like I have ASC certified technicians makes a difference. And I think that a lot of sales coaches will say, okay, what's your USP? And your USP is like this very large, it encompasses all these things. And I would say that my USP is a bit different. It certainly encompasses all those things, but it's a bit different depending on who I'm talking to. I have, there's 15, 20 reasons why you should do business with me, right? Or with my shop. And some customers are concerned about having master technicians, some concerned about warranty, some are concerned about getting the car done today, some are concerned about relationship. Can I have a relationship with you? Can I trust you? Are you going to be a good consultant for me on my vehicle? And so, I think that that unique selling proposition, the better you understand the value that you have for the customer, the easier you can talk about it,
Yeah.
the more likely you're going to have happy and satisfied customers who come back.
Let me throw something by all of you guys. I was talking to Matt Lockowitzer the other day, and he had brought this author in to speak to his people, and it was about the brown box. And I was really, really curious about it. And the net result was, okay, here's this brown box. What's in it that we have that when someone opens it up, they're going to say, wow, ain't that cool? So there's your unique selling proposition. It's what you decide to put in your brown cardboard box.
I would also say, and I don't want to take the whole thing, so Bill and Vin, you guys got to jump in here, but I would also say that determining what kind of business you want to run and what kind of cars you want to work on and what kind of customers you want to work for allows you to be very clear about what you put in your brown box. And if you think you're going to be all things to all people, maybe you don't have the right things in your brown box.
Great
I
point.
also find that we've been doing a lot of interviewing. And one of the things that we're finding out from people that we're interviewing, because let's just assume if somebody's applied for a job, they're ready to leave wherever they're at, right? And so one of the things we're trying to find out from people in the interview is, what is it that you're looking for in your next job that you don't have today? Because you got to know what that differentiator is going to be, right? And what I find so interesting is 90% of these people are saying, I want to work for a business that's ethical and I can believe in.
And then how much time do we spend on our employees, helping them understand, what's our vision, mission? Are we ethical? How do I make that employee happy? What's in my brown box for my employees, right?
Right.
That
Absolutely.
that matters a ton, especially right now.
But the curiosity in me is, I wonder what's going on in these businesses that they're currently working for.
Well, you know what that is. You know what that is, Bill. You get, your business isn't as profitable as it needs to be. Okay. And you have a comeback. One of your techs screws something up and it's going to cost you $4,000 and you don't have $4,000. And so you're okay, what corners can I cut? And you make decisions that are bad decisions, and that reflects on your employees who then go, wait a minute, this guy's not an honest guy. And so, you know, it's amazing to me that we have this is going on. I mean, if you watch, if you look at Facebook, wherever there's text, they're complaining about shop owners and not getting paid and how dishonest some of those guys are. And I don't know that it's dishonesty. It may be just bad decisions at a bad time. There's some research out there on thinking in a an environment that's a positive environment, and then thinking and decisions made when you don't have any money. So they took farmers and they studied farmers, and when farmers were planting, they made bad decisions because they were in debt. Because they made financial decisions based on that financial pressure. When farmers had brought the harvest in and had money in the bank, they made better decisions. Okay? So we make better decisions when we're more financially secure.
Yeah.
We make poor decisions often when we're not financially secure.
It's the difference between survival and success.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're in survival mode, you're probably making some decisions that your employees could look at and go, that's not honest.
Yeah.
Patch
Right.
that. Please patch that, because I can't afford $4,000.
Yeah.
As the moderator just paused in case Vin wanted to chime in at all.
So, someone told me, I picked it up somewhere, that you don't learn much when you're talking. So,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Well, okay. Listen, it's over. Hang up. Let's go. We just got
Now-
to this.
Now that would stand to reason that the quietest guy is the smartest guy.
Or the
Don't draw incorrect inferences.
ouch.
I don't know where you. I guess in between interruptions and getting hooked up here, I miss some things, but I've always felt that shop owners have a security. First of all, we as their customers, we care about three things: do they fix it? How much? And how soon can I have my vehicle? And once we find somebody that we trust and is competent, I really believe 99% of us as consumers don't want to lose the shop any more than the shop wants to lose the customer. So if the shop owner takes care of their customer with integrity and competence, their security is guaranteed.
I think you're on, Vin. What you just said reminded me of something, that finding a good repair shop is a really tough thing, right? And I think a lot of times that a lot of shops lose sight of the fact that most of these consumers really don't want to go out and find another shop.
No.
They want to see you be successful. They want to see you do well. Because if you're successful, I can come back to you in the future. If you're not successful and you go away, I'm back to that same pain of trying to find somebody I can trust that's going to do a good job for me. And I mean, it's no different than finding a good barber. Here's a guy with no hair talking about a barber, right? But it's the same thing.
Finding a good dentist. I just went through that. The dentist I had, I didn't really like, and I went online. I found a guy with 258 positive reviews. I went in. I had the best experience I've ever had in a dental office. If this guy doesn't screw it up, I'll spend lots of money with him over the years.
Well, and you'll send a lot of people there.
Yeah, I've already sent 3.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done any real work. They just did the initial investigation. It was I walked out of the dentist office saying, wait a minute, I just had a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
That's never happened. So I agree with Vin. I think if they don't want to go somewhere else. They don't want that uncertainty. They'd rather go where they go. And if it's yours to screw up in a way.
So the pressure in this discussion is about if we're comfortable and happy and secure and in trust, then the reason our service advisors, our owners, have to pay such careful attention, it's bringing in the new client.
I'm not sure, because if we create process and system and we have like a culture that we've developed and we know how to talk to our clients, bringing a new client to me is almost no different than bringing an old client.
Exactly. No, I totally agree, which is why it all has to be there and it has to work.
Yeah.
And the confidence that current customers get from you is because you're doing all this stuff right. The culture is good. The processes are right. But yet occasionally we could, lose our grasp of bringing in that new customer. But if the foundation's solid, and think about the top operators that you all know. They're on fire.
Yeah, right now especially. Holy
Yeah.
smokes! I've got guys.
I think the other issue, or probably a bigger issue, no matter how well you do this, and whatever your USP is, to me the issue is, are we staffed correctly so that everybody is afforded the time they need to have that conversation and present that USP?
Yeah.
That's one of the things I see in so many shops is they're really good at what they do. They just don't have the time to do what they do so well to give the customer the experience that they're expecting.
Or they don't know how to explain it because they haven't really thought about it. You know, they haven't put the pieces in place.
Or
That's
there's too
fair.
much to do, right? I mean, that's the other thing, Cecil. They're tasked with so much to do that when there's that opportunity to engage with that returning customer, new customer, they just don't have the time to do it as well as they know how to do it because the pressure is all this other stuff that's got to get done.
So if you go back and you say, okay, my service advisor doesn't have time, and you look at system and process, and your service advisor is constantly walking out to the shop to get information from the techs so that they can estimate stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen service advisors spend 3-4 hours a day just going out to the shop to talk to the techs because there isn't a good communication process between the tech and the service advisor.
Right.
And if you got rid of that, if you fix that,
Now
the
they have
service
time.
advisor might spend an hour and you have 3 extra hours to talk to clients and spend time with clients.
Yeah.
So, you know, it to me, it's like this, it's easy, but there's a lot involved.
Let's pick another great topic. This was great. Thank you. I was truly motivated by what you guys are talking about for unique selling propositions. Bill, you can't take reviews to the bank, you were telling me. Why is that?
Well, as valuable as reviews are, I just in so many conversations recently, it's like people are paralyzed by reviews. They don't do things they need to be doing because they're so concerned about how it might affect the review, right? So I'll give you an example. So there's a store, typical couple techs in the shop, 2 advisors up front. One of the advisors is a lovely person. People just absolutely love her. She's phenomenal, but she can't sell anything. But they retain her because she's so good with people that they call her out in reviews that they won't risk replacing her with someone who would do better, all about the reviews. And my challenge is this. You can't take reviews to the bank. The only thing you can take to the bank is money. So you have to make sales in order to have the money to take the money to the bank. And I just, I'm concerned that I see a lot of these shops get so enamored with the reviews that they're actually paralyzed by it. And it's like you still have to do the right things in your business. It can't all hinge on that one thing about I'm not going to risk not getting all these great reviews. In fact, what's to say you wouldn't get great reviews with the next person?
And if I do it right, I'm gonna upset somebody, right? Because you can't
Yeah.
make everybody happy. If you come to my shop, I'm gonna tell you what it costs. If you're unhappy with that, it's what it costs. You know, you may be happier somewhere else where it's cheaper, and I might risk a bad review, but I'm not giving up my profit because if I give up my profit, I can't survive, right? So, and I don't think, when we're teaching service advisors, have a solution for the guy that wants cheap. Get the phone number of the cheapest shop in town. Give it out.
Yep.
It's a solution for the person looking for that. Back to the unique selling proposition, the brown box. What's in my brown box? Am I the cheap guy? Am I the guy that's going to cut corners? Am I the guy that's going to hire people that are quick but maybe not necessarily good? Or am I the top guy? Am I the guy that charges more? And if that's the guy I am, then be that guy and be that guy the best you can be for the customers that want that. And then at the service counter, try to figure out I have two jobs when someone calls in. My first job is to figure out if they're going to be happy here. Because if you're not going to be happy here, I'm not bringing you in my shop. So if you want cheap and I'm not cheap, I'm going to give you a solution. And I'm not going to say, oh, I won't give you a price, or I'm not going to say, well, we're like super expensive. I'm going to say, sounds like you would like somebody less expensive. Here's their phone number. Have a great day. And I'm not going to get a bad review because I solved their problem. You know, I agree with Bill. We have these shop owners, and there's always going to be somebody that's going to walk in your shop, or maybe not even walk in your shop and give you a crappy review. I have two shop owners that got reviews from people last week that were 2-star reviews. The person never showed up in their shop. They never came in. So how do they give us a review?
Yeah.
Vin, your thoughts on reviews?
You kind of get what you give, right? As far as selling goes, I've always thought it's filling needs. When you go to a dentist, he doesn't say, "Oh, there's 32 teeth. I think I'll work on this one." They just identify what the issue is, correct it, and then once it's corrected and you're presenting the bill, do it with empathy and in great detail and explain the value that you got from the customer. You should get good reviews. I've always been a believer. I'd spend more time presenting the bill than I did interviewing the customer for the job. And just in detail, we did this, 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 blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's just adding the value to it. Maybe some customers don't want it. Maybe this, they don't, but I think they appreciate your effort to try to please them and to be thorough. But I don't think there's any magic to it.
I think if you're paying attention to the customer, the one that doesn't want that, he'll tell you or she'll tell you.
Yeah.
Say,
And,
great,
and what,
give me how many keys, I want to go. Thanks.
And what you said, Cecil, about those people that got the 2-star reviews, I would want to be on the phone pretty quick and contact them.
Yeah, we did that, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
But I'm always kind of amazed as a consultant. I get I'm the, oh my God, I got this review. It's the end of the world. And I'm like, well, first of all, it's not the end of the world. Second of all, they never came to your shop, so maybe we got to find out, what happened.
In his response, he might even put that in there. I'm sorry that you feel unhappy, but to the best of my knowledge, you never came to my shop. Are you confusing us with someone else?
Yeah, we definitely, in the answer to the review, was like, well, we can't find you. We'd love to help you if we could find you. So,
hey guys, let's look at this interesting comment from Jacob Johnson. If you were to put a percentage on customer retention versus finding new customers, what would it look like as far as time spent?
70-30 customer retention, 30% acquisition. I need about 30% new customers because I'm going to lose 18 according to statistical data. I want to grow my shop 10% at least.
But is his question asking how much time will I spend with the returning customer versus how much I'll spend with the new customer? My answer is whatever it takes.
Yeah,
until they have all the information they need to be satisfied.
Yeah, or think of dollars, guys. What would you spend on the retention tool? Marketing follow-up, gifts, recognition versus bringing in that new customer.
Our methodology for, I don't know, as many years as I've been doing this is 70% of my efforts, which would include money, would go to retention and 30% would go to acquisition. Of course, it depends. There might be some times where I shift some of that money because I need more acquisition. But in general, that's kind of what we recommend. Yeah.
Well, Jacob, we hope we answered your question. Vin, you had commented to me about virtual training, Vin, and love to try to cover this. Vinny wants to know, is virtual training, has it lost its luster? Can it ever equal live training?
That's my question. When COVID came, that was the savior. We were forced into virtual training. But now I'm getting a lot of calls and people, I say I can do it virtually and they don't want to do it.
I would say virtual maybe never had a luster. Frankly, we did tons of virtual training, virtual conference. We have a learning management system with a lot of training on it. Certainly our clients use it. But we didn't sign up people from virtual training into programs. Very few. Nothing like live training. And then I would say, so now we can all do live training, and now there's almost a plethora or an overage of that, especially for tech training right now. It seems like, and so some of it's not being well attended, even though that's what everybody's clamoring for.
I mean, there was some virtual training going on before COVID, right? COVID drove it to the point of it. Now it was necessity. If you were going to do any training, that's how you were going to do it. It wasn't an option anymore. But I think if you go back and talk to the people that were doing the virtual training pre-COVID, you're going to find out that I don't think it had any luster. It wasn't well received. It wasn't, there was some engagement, but I think the percentage was awful small, at least from the people that I've talked to that were doing quite a bit of it pre-COVID. It never really got its legs underneath it. And I think people are just excited to be able to go back to doing live training events and being able to be in a place with an instructor and, being able to have the engagement is so different, right? I mean, I remember all the stuff that we were doing in COVID with all the virtual stuff. And it took so much work to do a good virtual event versus what it would take to be in a room in front of a group, because you had to create the engagement. When you're in a room in front of a group of people, you get that energy. You get people engaged and it makes the class flow really, really well. When you do virtual training, to me, that's the thing that's been missing, is it's really hard to overcome that. I mean, I never found a way to have the same level of engagement in a virtual environment that I did in a live environment. What about you guys?
I don't think we have the same engagement in virtual at all.
Yeah.
And even like we have a learning management system we had for years. And even today in a meeting with, 30 shops, one of the shops is saying, my service advisor is struggling. Do we have any training for that, Cecil? And I'm like, well, yeah, holy smokes. And it's free to you because you're part of the program. So, and they don't even know. And it's the communication problem is probably that problem that creates that. If I have you in a class, I can pay attention to your eyes and I can pay attention to what you're interested in. And I can see when you shake your head no, like you don't agree with me, and I can follow up with that. That doesn't happen online. Period.
Right.
I mean, even though I might be able to see you, it isn't the same.
But guys, did we drag any new people in that found the value in virtual training and may have converted them to live?
Oh, I think so. Probably. Yeah, I think so.
To me, it's really funny because you'll have somebody show up like you don't know necessarily how they got to you, and so you ask the question, how did you pick our company? And like, oh, I went to a BIMers class that you did 12 years ago, right? And I saw you on CARM, and I saw you here, and I watched this thing, and I attended this thing, and so you never know who you're going to affect. You have to kind of do all of it to have the greatest effect. It's even teaching marketing to shop owners, you can't just put one ad out there with your name and your brand and expect everybody's going to remember who you are. You have to hit them again and again and again so that when the time comes that they need you, they remember who you are. I don't think it's any different with what we do.
No.
Well, thanks, guys. One of the topics I've been hearing so much about parts lately.
Really? What about
Yeah.
parts? You can't find them? There's a shortage?
Can't find them. And, I'm trying to help my customer out the best that they can. They've been a long-time customer. It's their second car. They lost their job. So I got to have cheap parts. And
let's touch on the cheap parts thing.
It's swirling, Bill.
Well, here's the thing. This I found this still just astounding. Okay. So IMR does a survey, and they go out and they find 500 shops, and they survey 500 shops to ask, what are the 5 top concerns you have?
Yeah.
And number 1 on the top of the list was finding affordable parts. And I thought, where is this coming from?
I saw that.
Where's this idea at the shop owner level that one of their responsibilities is to find affordable parts. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean the guy I normally buy parts from has gotten too expensive, so I'm looking for alternatives to try and find cheaper parts? What? I don't get it.
So so there's this idea out there that I need to be able to negotiate with my client and be able to bring my price down. And one of the top ways to do that is to, go online and search for affordable or cheap parts. Okay. So now I can compete, now I can negotiate, except that's not what your clients want. One of the, it's amazing to me, the shops that I work with, and there's quite a few, the guys that are the most expensive, by the way, are the most busy. They're the most consistent. They are the most profitable, etc. And they're not chasing people away because, again, in their brown box are the things that the person that wants someone to take care of their car and do the right thing, they're in the brown box. And that's not cheap parts. And then you think about suppliers. So let's talk education. You have Napa does a lot of education. You have Worldpac does a lot of education. CarQuest, tons of education. And so when you go online and you use Amazon and you find a cheap part, what's the quality of the part? No idea. What's the fit of the part? No idea. What else is Amazon supplying me besides a cheap part? They're not supplying training. They're not supplying, someone that's going to take care of my returns and all of that. We think that cheap is better, and yet I would tell you 9 out of 10 adults would say cheap is only cheap. It's not better. If we were faced with the choice, I want to go to this restaurant because it's cheap, I want to go to this restaurant because it's good, how many adults would go to the good restaurant? 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
Most
We
would
make
go.
the decision every day,
Yeah.
and yet shop owners think, well, I need to be cheap. Why? Because the customer is putting pressure on you about price because you haven't built anything else in your box. You haven't said, wait a minute, I know price is important, but there's like 8 other things that are really important. Can you trust me? If we put a part on your car, is it the right part? Does it solve your problem? Is there a good warranty on it in case you do have a problem? What other things come with that part? And
Well,
so,
and the other thing that I wonder, when I look at this stuff, right, and I go, so that's the biggest concern you have as a business owner today is your ability to find affordable parts. And then I go, so I wonder how much time they spend trying to chase down that cheap part where instead of just saying, I have a relationship with this vendor supplier, they're going to do all the things that Cecil was just mentioning in terms of training and support and everything else. But just how about improving the workflow through the shop to say that when I need brakes, I'm going to buy brakes here and I put them on. I'm not going to look for cheap brakes. I'm just buying brakes. When I need water pumps, I buy water pumps here and I put them on. I mean, this is where you scale the efficiencies in your shop. And I hope that the people that were responding to this survey are listening to this podcast to start to think about it's, to Cecil's point, not all about price. It's about what if you could improve the processes and leverage the efficiencies in your shop? Maybe you could fix one more car a day.
yeah, and one more car day, what does that add up to, right? I mean, just one more.
Right.
So the average productivity has been 72% since I've been in the industry, which is, only about a week or two. Um, but but if the average productivity was 90% or 100%, the shops would make another $100,000 in profit a year. So,
Correct.
and my tech used to cost, I don't know, $40. I used to bill 40, 50, 60, $70 an hour. My tech now, we're billing out 130, 140, 180, even 200 in some markets. My tech stands around for half an hour while you go find a cheap part, save your customer $5. That just cost me $50 for him to stand around for 15 minutes. I mean, are we nuts?
Yeah.
Cheap parts leave a bad taste for everyone. I agree. It got
Sure
that
do.
taste in my mouth. So
What's the motivation, guys? Is it that they're trying to bring some perceived benefit to the customer? Are they trying to play with gross margin percent? And I didn't say dollars, but percent. Or is it just that they just don't know how to run a great business?
There's two things here. Number one, there is a lot of price pressure. So I answer the phone. What does the customer say? Are you guys honest? Can we trust you? No, they say how much. That's what they know how to say. We've taught them to say that over and over and over. So there's price pressure. Now that may be perceived pressure, it may be real pressure, it may not. The second thing is we don't understand what that cost us. And if we can answer the question for the customer why that price is the best thing for them to do, and the other part of this is owners and a lot of service advisors are emotionally attached to the price. It's like it's coming out of my wallet. So I got to save the guy $200 because holy crap, I don't have an extra $200. Except it isn't my money. I mean, and I don't want to do something wrong. I don't want to like overcharge my customer, but I want to do a good repair with a quality part that I can depend on, my customer can depend on, and I need to charge a certain amount so I can be profitable. And if I don't do that, then these holes start to appear in my business because I don't have the money. Then there's more price pressure. Then I'm more emotionally attached, right? And there's a false pressure that I think we misread as owners and service advisors in this industry, and we believe it's our money. It's coming right out of my pocket. We have to get rid of emotional discounting. We have to.
The other piece to this that I've encountered that concerns me a lot is that there are people that are using the price, finding the lowest price to negotiate with their good suppliers, and they're risking their relationships with their vendors and suppliers because now they've had people teaching them that when you find you can buy that part cheaper somewhere else, you go back to your vendor and supplier and negotiate that, hey, I can buy it over here for this price, but if you want to sell it to me, you're going to have to match that price.
Beat them up.
Beat them up. And, here's the problem. If you've ever been in the parts business, Carm, you know what the margins are like in the parts business.
Yeah, I do.
So it's pretty tough to have somebody come back and beat you up on price, especially when you're the guy like Cecil was saying, we provide the training, we provide all the support, we help manage your inventory, we make sure we have what you need when you need it, all this stuff. And then the only thing you're concerned about with me is to save $1 or $2 or $5 or whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. Okay. And now we're risking those relationships. And to what really is disturbing to me is it's the one thing we don't want to do as a shop. We don't want somebody to come in and say, will you price match, or I can buy it cheaper over here. Can you, do it for the same price? And we're turning around on the other side of this thing and doing exactly that to our vendors and suppliers. And that to me is absolutely wrong.
And if we make it all about price and it becomes all about price, we lose. Where does it go? It goes.
It's a race to the bottom.
The race to the bottom. There's always going to be a cheaper guy in town. So okay, Bill and I, we're going to do consulting, and my consulting is going to be $1,200 a month. And Bill says, well, Cecil's $1,200. I'll do it for $1,000.
Actually, if you can do it for 12, I'd have to be worth 15.
Yeah, but I know, me too, Bill. But, and then Vin comes in, and Vin says, well, Bill's going to do it for $800. I'm going to do it for $600.
Yeah.
And Cecil goes, well, if they're going to do it for $600, I'm going to do it for $400. I got to put food on the table, and pretty soon we're all broke. The whole industry's broke.
Yeah.
In fact, we're almost there now. It's one of the problems with the industry. We have broke thinking. We have broke shops.
Why do you have technicians leaving the industry?
They can't get paid.
They can't get
They
paid.
don't feel they have value, and they don't feel like the shop owner's honest, and they don't feel like they treat them right because they're on flat rate, and they can't keep enough cars in the shop or sell enough work because they keep the gal who makes the customer feel good but can't sell anything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's an interesting, yes,
vicious cycle.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
We
Vin
just did.
is talking, but we can't hear him. He's
hang on,
muted.
Vin. Let's unmute you. Go ahead, my friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. I find my observation is when shops today, it almost seems archaic. When they're shopping price, there's probably a symptom that may be something wrong with their business. They're not making as much money as they could. And so what is their accountant going to say? You either have to raise your prices, cut your expenses, right? Or improve your gross profit. Well, I don't dare to raise my prices. I'll drive the customers away. I can't cut my expenses. They're fixed. I can't change the rent. So then what they look at as an expense is maybe their parts bill. That's kind of old thinking. The shops that are the most profitable, they pick a supplier, they're loyal to them, and they make them the first call, and they care about, do you have it and how soon can I have the part? That's really what they care about. And I'll just throw something out that the high profit firms, I don't know if you guys know that. I put together the statistics for Napa nationwide. It's called the Napa Auto Care Financial GPS. I never know what they're going to be, but the 22 stats show that the average of the top 25% most profitable shops are 7% as a shop more efficient than the average shop. Okay. And their labor rate is $1.35 an hour less, believe it or not. They perform so well internally that they make money in spite of themselves. In other words, they perform so well internally that they're not jacking their labor rate. They're below average in terms of their labor rate, but they make it up because they're just really smooth inside. When I see and they did $147,000 more in sales, and they made $95,000 more profit. It almost sounds impossible, but there's a lot of reasons for that. But on the top level, they're more efficient.
Their margins
they're not shopping around for parts. They're saying, okay, Napa, do you have it? And get it to me.
Their margins are better because of efficiency.
Yeah. And they want a quality part because they don't want to come back.
Yeah, because a comeback creates less efficiency.
Shows you, yeah.
Cost.
So we're all saying the same thing in just different ways.
Yeah. We did a great episode on Remarkable Results Radio. It was episode 814 with Dan Taylor, protecting your gross margin using the emotional intelligence approach, and basically not selling from your wallet and really knowing what you're selling. Cecil goes back to the unique selling proposition. It's not being afraid because the culture of the business is right and it's strong, and you have realized how to deal with the fear of giving the right price. It was a great episode. I think there's so much that our service advisors and owners can hear from that. That was episode 841. Hey guys, this was great. Let's go around the room. We covered a lot of great topics, and let's spend the next X minutes or so chatting about anything else that's on your mind. We'll do Vin first. We'll do Cecil and then Bill. Vinny, anything on your mind?
I was just going to look for the questions that you asked me to send in. You caught me.
Business management classes, Vin, that aren't offered in schools.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I wonder. Okay, the big shortage is technicians, right? And we have training on the technical side to repair them. It's going to sound self-aggrandizing, I guess, but I've written a class that teaches shop employees business management. So when they come to a shop, if you train them technically and they understand basic business, they might provide a lot greater value to the shop, and they're going to understand where the shop is going to go because they understand it in the first place. In other words, I have a class and I build it on a $10 business. Now to $10, here's how much is the labor, and here's the parts, and here's this, and here's that. And here's what all the cars are. And I break it down real simple. And so I don't know what the thoughts are on that, but that's where I'm going as I reinvent myself at 23. I'm going to have a business class for employees. And one of the qualifications is, unless the owner has been through my 2-day class, I won't do the class for the employees unless the owner attends with them. I don't know that's just my viewpoint. I see a need for that. How do you guys feel?
I think there's a huge need for it. I think, as you see a business owner improve and change his pricing model and improve his marketing and change all the things that he needs to move from survival to success, one of his challenges is his employees are questioning what's going on. Why are we all of a sudden charging more? Why are, all this stuff? They need to understand the business side of the business. They need to understand what profit is and why profit is necessary.
Yeah.
And if you don't teach that to your employees, then you're going to have unhappy employees.
Bill, my unscientific study, unscientific, backed by no facts, says that over 90% of current shop owners were at one time shop employees.
Sure.
Right? They made the transition.
Yeah.
And I think we can enhance that by and if you get a shop employee and he doesn't want to know anything about the business, he may or she may not be in the right profession to begin with.
So we made the statement that a lot of techs are saying that, well, this shop owner is dishonest, and they may think that's dishonest because the shop owner is charging $130 an hour, but you're only paying me 25.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you keep $105 every time you charge an hour. That's dishonest. They don't understand the costs of running a business. They don't understand the risks. They don't understand the insurance, the overhead, etc. They don't understand that I'm paying FICA, FUTA, workers' comp, and a myriad of other things, and I'm not paying you $25 an hour or $35 an hour, whatever it is. We need people in our companies to understand the financial aspects of our companies so that when they go to the counter and they say, Mr. Customer, this is $1,000, they understand why it's $1,000 and they can say that confidently. And wouldn't it be great if everybody knew the cost of missing 10% off your parts margin?
Yeah.
Average shop, 800,000-ish, half parts, 400,000 in parts. I'm missing my parts margin by 10%. That's a $40,000 net loss every year.
Yeah, well, to use Bill's analogy, you go to the barber shop. They charge $25 for a haircut, right? They do 3 an hour. That's $75 an hour, $600 on an 8-hour day, times 5, right? $3,000 a week, $150,000 a year, right? Because when the customer goes to the barber, that's when the barber's working. When the customer is working, the barber is reading a newspaper in a chair. And but that's how the employee looks. You can't blame them. They're going to say, "Here, you just took in $75 over in an hour. You did 3 haircuts, and what am I getting paid?"
So the barber should be looking at gross profit per hour, not how much he charges per haircut.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
And they still have to. Yeah. It's just, and it's like that. You sit and you watch any trade and you see the top line, like Cecil says, but you don't know what goes into the barber. You don't know. I was a barber. That's why I know that.
No wonder why you always look so good.
I actually was a barber when I first went out of high school. I went to barber school, and then before I went to military. Long story.
How cool.
But I understood.
Can you imagine being the barber and a barber sits down in the chair and he tells you what to do? Golly. Anyway.
Can I bring my own scissors?
Yeah. Right.
Myself watch it and direct me, and it'll cost less.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Hey, Vin, to your point, Vin, about teaching, we did a show. I did a course actually back when I worked in corporate America. I called it Where the Money Goes, and it was a $100 bill, and we broke it down for all the people that worked in the field so that they would understand that this gross profit produces, the dollars we pay our bills with. And actually, I put money in envelopes for all of the expense categories, including the sales. It was a blast. Well, Patrick McHugh and I did a great lesson called Where the Money Goes. It was episode 210, Town Hall Academy. And I just recommend just go Where the Money Goes, look at it. And it is, Vin, it's very much like what you're doing out there. And I don't disagree that is a great idea. It reminds me, oh God, guys, it reminds me, you talk about the technicians that are going through automotive tech training. And when they get sent out to the field, one of the things that comes back from the future employee back to the college is, can you teach them some soft skills? And the soft skills part of life almost pertains to what Vin wants to do and teach business, because those are some smart skills that people do need to know. Cecil, I'll give you your last word.
Could you imagine what our industry would be like if every business owner actually understood the business as a financial machine, a financial model, and knew what they had to do and were able to take themselves out of it emotionally and do what they had to do so that they were profitable.
Yeah.
You know what that would look like, Cecil?
It would be Shangri-La for me, frankly.
I think what it would look like is auto repair shops would look like car dealerships.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, because those guys know how money works.
I think you have to be careful using that comparison with automotive shops because they think car dealerships are somehow not good, dishonest.
Oh, I get that. I'm just saying from understanding the business and how money works, car dealer principals are very good at that.
And
it's
they make profit
because they were educated.
Yeah.
They didn't go, I'm a car salesman today, I'm going to own the dealership tomorrow. No. That's not how that works, which is our model. I'm a mechanic today, I'm going to own the repair shop tomorrow. It's very different. So I think to your point, if what the business would look like, if all the shop owners understood business, it would look very different.
I think if you looked at your clients and you said, okay, these are the clients that have been here for a while and they've got it, that's what it would look like. But it would, again, my clients average more than 18% net profit out of their shops. They are consistently busy. Their processes are good. Their service advisors are busy, but they don't waste time, chasing information. We have a good process.
Yeah.
So it would look like that. It would look like a bunch of shops that were very profitable. We could pay our techs better. We could put more money in our own pockets. Our customers would be happier because our happy employees would take care of them, and
they could afford to fix their parking lots.
Yeah. What could we do as an industry if everyone took a business class? So I'm just going to say, top thing.
Yeah.
You don't like me. You don't like Bill. You don't want to have a coach. Fine. Go to your local college and take a business class.
Yeah.
So you understand money, gross profit per hour, gross profit margin, how that affects it, what you need to charge. It's funny because I do a lot of training, and you'll bring shops in and you'll have a training and you'll say, okay, why are you $100 an hour, right? How many shops have said, well, I did the math, I figured out what my costs were, I figured out what I needed to pay my tax, and then I multiplied it correctly and I came up with $100 an hour. No, they're $100 an hour because they got a feeling because they called some shops around town or whatever, and they said, I'm $100 an hour. If we were better business people as an industry, it would be a much better industry. We'd all do much better.
Yeah.
That's my,
Absolutely.
go take a business class.
Hey guys, I want to interrupt you right now. A good friend out in England who's always on with us had a question. Can DIY auto repair make it in today's automotive industry?
I think there'll always be DIY. There's always going to be somebody who's going to try to do it themselves, and then sometimes they're going to be successful, and sometimes they're going to screw it up and bring it to the local shop and pay 3 times as much to get it fixed. So, I think DIY, do it yourself, there'll always be some do it yourself. It's like everything in life. I mean, you look at the bell curve. There's 10% dishonest people in every industry. Every industry. It's not just automotive, it's doctors, lawyers, etc. There's a certain amount of dishonest. There's a certain amount of people that are extremely successful, about 10, 15% on the other end, right? And then there's the guys in the middle that they're floating through and doing their thing. It's the same bell curve in almost every industry, in almost every situation. There will always be DIY people.
Well, the DIYers are going to be diminished, at least in America, because the baby boomers, I'm one of them. I don't change my own oil. I don't do anything. I just bring it and have it done. Do it for me. If the population coming up isn't as big as we are, there'll be, who knows, maybe some less DIY that way. But I agree that somebody's always going to try to do something to save money. Yeah, they're always going to do that.
I'm surprised we don't have people trying to do their own brain surgery, save a few bucks. So,
With one hand tied behind my back. Bill, I'm going to give you the last word, but to thank everyone for hanging out here with the Coalition of Automotive Management Professionals Camp. We do this each and every month. I think what are we, the third Thursday? at
Yes.
2 o'clock, and it's the business coaches of our industry that get together, and they just want to give and help the industry. Bill, I'll give you your last word.
I don't know that I have anything in particular or any great words of wisdom, but it's just pay attention to what's going on. Listen to the podcast. Go to training classes when the training classes are offered. If you can make something like Vin was talking about, a business class for employees, if you can make that available to your employees, get them signed up and get started. Because I've said for a long time, if you don't share, they don't care. And that's if you want them to understand what's going on in your business and where that money goes, you got to share it. You got to let them know how this works. So if you want them to care enough to feel like they're part of your organization, then you better start to share.
It's the same attitude. If I train them, they may leave, and if I teach them a little bit about business, they may start their own shop.
But if you train them and they leave, won't you appreciate having a great competitor?
That's right.
And by the way, if all the business owners understood business in the automotive industry, and it was a better world, and you were a part of that better world, there's a lot of shops out there. I'm not jealous of Vin. I'm not jealous of Bill. I don't really care. I think the more Bills, the more Vins that are out there, the better the industry does. The better industry does, the better I do. We have to stop this. Well, they might leave us. Yeah, they probably will. But it's your job as an employer. You have a responsibility to train your people and help to make your people successful, even if that's successful after they've left you.
And nothing is easy. Just got to work hard.
Got to work.
Bill Haas, Haas Performance Consulting, haasperformanceconsulting.com. Vin Waterhouse, Automotive Accounting, Training, and Coaching Company, vinwaterhouse.com. And Cecil Bullard from the Institute for Automotive Business Excellence, wearetheinstitute.com. Thanks for another great month and a great talk, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.